Everybody, this is Talkative Carl back again for this month's Deadliest Warrior live commentary. A few things I want to let you guys know before we begin the next episode. First and foremost, I wanted to get this stuff done the day after Memorial Day, but I don't know if it's because of some kind of update, but my game capture card apparently kind of like prevented, or at least the console prevented, because they acknowledged the game capture card is being used, so it assumed that might have been like broadcasting this, illegally on like YouTube or any other source on the internet, which obviously I'm not. This is obviously going to be just me watching it. I'm not posting these episodes on YouTube for you guys to see. That's why I want to make sure let you guys know that these kind of things is on Amazon Prime, so you can watch along with me. But apparently I had to get like a HDMI splitter, which I had to order from Amazon. Got it today, tested it out just to make sure, and it's going through perfectly fine. As well, I will make a video about this tomorrow, but I tested out also on my PS5 because there were some games that I mentioned in my previous video on YouTube that you can check out as well, about my issues with how the PS5 and like the Xbox Series was being marketed and distributed, but a couple of games was not playing because it wasn't very specific as to why. Unlike with the Xbox One, who at least gave me a particular detail that was crucial for me to figure out, that since the AI splitter, because like for some reason that these companies are putting these updates into these consoles, of course people are going to be doing a lot of streaming with these consoles. But we also all acknowledge the fact, at least there's going to be a subset of people that's going to be trying to do, broadcast certain things to the public illegally. But it should have been some kind of like announcement, or like, go to IGN or other kind of interview sources to let people know that you need something like, if you want to stream or something like that you're doing, you need an HDMI splitter. That's what worked for me when I tried to just test out, see if it's going to allow me to play certain games on my PS5 that wasn't doing it on its own. And it's because of the game capture card, or at least because it acknowledging the capture card, or acknowledging something that's not allowing to play the game. And nobody knew this. I called the PlayStation company customer service just to let them know, so in case other people are getting this kind of issue, I went to them to make a note into their systems and put it as one of the options for people, that you more than likely will need an HDMI splitter, so that way if for some reason, especially if people are trying to do certain streaming, or just in general trying to play a game and it won't play, more than likely you'll need an HDMI splitter. Just can have like the little bridge in between you and it, so that way the software can acknowledge, okay, this person's good, let's continue. So that's what happened. But anyway, like I said, I'm gonna put like a video up there, post it on YouTube for you all to have, so that way other people are paying it for it, so other people can, like, get the help that they need in case they run into some kind of issue, because not a lot of people are giving this kind of specific help. Because I don't know, sure if I'm just the outlier, but in any rate, I want to make sure you guys are getting the help you need. But anyway, we'll be going to the and there's another thing. For the foreseeable future, for my Deadliest Warrior live commentary, we'll be doing like 3 episodes per month instead of the usual 2. Because more than likely, I mean, like, for this specific reason, that the 3rd episode will be like technically the first episode of season 2, but it's basically like a big tournament style, which I kind of had hoped that they would have done that for season 3. But it's basically like kind of, bracket kind of thing. We'll get into that once that episode comes up, but I wanted that to roll into the final wrap up of season 1 technically. So in the foreseeable future, starting right now and then next month and so on, we'll be doing 3 episodes per month. So anyway, this episode will be William Wallace versus Shaka Zulu. I really enjoyed this episode. I mean, like, from what the Deadliest Word wiki that looked up a long time ago mentions that, I'm pretty sure we all seen Braveheart with I'm blanking on his name, Mel Gibson. There are certain inaccuracies in that film, but if you look up the actual historical records about William Wallace, kind of like negates the fallacies that movie was talking about him. But we'll get into that in this movie. I mean, not movie, TV show episode. And Shaka Zulu is like holy shit, this dude is was like a piece of work. I mean, like he was an awesome leader in his own right, don't get me wrong, but there's certain things that kind of at a certain age he kind of went off the rails a bit mentally. And according to the certain sources, and I'm not sure how true this is, so take this information with a grain of salt, because I don't know if it's a spoiler, you can easily look this up, it's historical fact. He was killed by his own brothers because he was pretty much losing it mentally, and didn't feel like a fit leader after a certain point. But on his deathbed, he's pretty much like, I'm paraphrasing, but it's pretty much he has some kind of vision, like predicting the colonizers coming to their lands, and they would and their people will be conquered or enslaved, something like that. I'm not sure what. I mean, it's like, that's what I'm saying. It's a supposed rumor that he somehow on his deathbed, I mean, some kind of like mind's eye or something like that, he predicted, the white man coming to Africa to enslave their people. He predicted that kind of thing before he died. But like I said, it's just a rumor, but that'd be like an interesting thing. We all had those kind of very vivid dreams or some kind of like slight precognition about certain things that maybe days or maybe weeks, months, years down the line that somehow come true, and you feel that deja vu-ness about it. And because I've been known to get that kind of thing growing up, there's certain things that kind of come to light at some point down the line that feels like I relived that moment before. But anyway, we'll begin to this. Get comfortable. I got my tea. It's Wild Bill's Old Fashioned Soda Pop Company. Yeah, I got this at I love this mug to death. I got this and this and this. My Pikachu cups from C2E2 comic book convention. I really need to get some more. Well, I don't want to get no more cups in this house because my father be just be taking cups to use for his own tea just without caring a world, just grabbing crap. But yeah, I love my Wild Bill mug. I want to get another one. Like with everybody's getting their little vaccinations, everything will hopefully by next year, towards the springtime next year, hopefully we'll be going back to C2E2. I might do like use my phone to like do like a video blog thing, as I'm walking in and going around the places and everything like that. And it's like Like I'm definitely want to do something like that. But anyway, let's begin the episode. William Wallace versus Shaka Zulu. Oh, and get your time set to 0. If you're watching along on Amazon Prime, go to episode 16, William Wallace versus Shaka Zulu. And if you're ready, please press play now. I'll drink some more tea. You know, I don't know how I feel about the person portraying Shaka Zulu. He seems like very like scrawny, almost like he's like 20s, like a very strong, scrawny person. Because I don't know, I kind of imagine Shaka Zulu will be well. This is like a reenactment, but I feel like Shaka Zulu, they should have cast somebody a little bit bigger, a little bit more. I'm not sure. I gotta maybe look it up and see. Well, they're gonna show his like weight and everything like that, but I doubt he's like scrawny like that. They should have cast somebody with a little bit more like meat on the bones, a little bit more muscular. And yeah, this is the first episode when they actually, instead of just warrior classes, you actually dealing with two specific warriors in history. And you'll see a lot more of that when we get into season 2. Yeah, they put it, you know, very articulately, you know, perfectly. That yeah, these are two like very distinct different weapons, different combat skills, vastly different kind of training. And that's what makes this, you know, this show so interesting. And like a show like Death Battles, it's like they're dealing with like two warriors that would never have met in battle, given the fact that there's like more than likely years apart, separated by, you know, continents half the time. And it's like you put all this level of skill and training and background up against an opposing, you know, you know, different skill level, history and background, all that other stuff. It's like, and see the opposing figures clash. And most of the people that like fighting alongside certain warriors, they usually probably have like, you know, crappy like wigs. Like this like doing a blonde hair is like very crappy wig. Kieran Elliott, it was like a was a host for Deadliest War Aftermath. It was kind of like the way uh it's kind of like the way uh Walking Dead or Talking Dead. There was like a show after the Walking Dead, every Walking Dead episode. They had like Deadliest Warrior Aftermath, which he was the host, where he have one of the hosts of the show, like Dr. Dorian or uh, 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 Jeff Dave Malin on, and one of each of the experts for the opposing warrior, so that way fans can watch the episode, email or tweet a question to the show to be asked on live. And I remember on one of the aftermath shows, he mentions, oh, since like Kira Allen is also the expert for this show for William Wallace, he's also the host on the uh, um, on both things. He answered all the questions for the William Wallace questions. Kind of like a messed up thing was like his father had him from like a by a woman from a different tribe. Like, so you was messing around and he gets hated. But of course, like when you're marrying like into other tribes, it's supposed to be some kind of like formal tradition. But anything outside of, I guess anything outside of that seems very weird. Or not weird, just like not how they were supposed to be a traditional way of doing things. Yeah, I can see why like Shaka, probably went a little crazy towards the end of his reign because the you know what he was treated as a kid and his constant warfare. But at the same time, he is the most acknowledged or probably the most recognizable African leaders out of all the tribes of Africa. He is like a big standout. Like they is the Zulus are known to be like the Spartans of Africa. And that's how it was like. He led them. They was like a fierce tribe and part of the most powerful tribe. So like he just like it's apples and oranges how you uh it's like, well, there's gonna be other warriors down the line with other episodes that are crazy, but either were good leaders or bad leaders. But it all depends. It's like, how crazy is enough where you still can lead men into battle and be effective. The Claymore sword is very interesting. It's not my favorite sword, but I respect it. I think like maybe the Claymore is probably maybe like my fourth or maybe fifth favorite type of sword because it's very recognizable. I mean, like, I can see his point. Like, yeah, you do not want to get into that radius of that long blade spinning around with his body, but eventually you have to stop, and your back will be, if he's managed to stay out of the range and wait to, because you have to like use that, you're expelling or spending that energy to do the, the hacking motion, and like you're turning around, and it's like you're gonna take a minute to recover. To the recovery time is like something to a factor to be acknowledged, at least, that if you dealing with a fast opponent and you have to, deal with a heavy blade, and if you don't, make that first, I mean, despite how skilled you are with the claymore, it's still like, not a cumbersome weapon, but it's gonna, uh, you know, uh, cause you to spend a lot of energy to do all the slicing that you'll need, but it has to connect and make it count. At least, depending on how many warriors you're dealing with. If you're dealing with one guy, uh, and is a very nimble and fast opponent, if you miss, it's gonna take you a minute, at least like, half a minute to a minute before for you to recover, before like, they get a chance to take advantage and like use their weapons on you while you're momentarily not attacking them. Is I just think personally it's something that should be considered. I love this, like the African weapons. Every time an African word comes on the show, their weapons are very, like, I love the creativity, and especially them Native Americans too. It's like when they create their weapons, they always have like a meaning behind the name. Inkwa, because like the name goes into the body, the sound it makes, it goes into the body, and then pulling out kwa. And it's like, I like that, the creativity. And the war cry the Zulus make. Like, I love the war cry when he was like, Zulu, Zulu, Zulu. But of course, you gotta explain to him who Muhammad Ali was to make that reference and mean anything to Shaka Zulu. It's amazing how that, a lot of these ancient weapons and tools and armor is still being made mostly for Renaissance fairs type of stuff, but to see a chainmail and other armors that evolved from chainmail be used and see in action is like, always thought that very appealing, because it's like you would not know by modern standards how things like that worked back then, because obviously we wasn't there, the time had evolved, but just to see certain things in action, to how it works and how it was effective, when it comes to contact with other weapons or flesh, it's like very appealing, very cool. kind of shield is that to have? I mean, I know these are jobber type of armies that being reenacted for Shaka to fight, but just like with the Viking episode, when it has like all the Vikings fighting some rando army, it literally got planks of wood, up against like like a pole to represent some kind of shield. It's like, come on, you can do. I don't know what the budget was. I guess they didn't have to put all that into the opposing side's type of shields, but make it at least a little like an actual shield rather than something you cobble together at the last minute. I'm curious to know what you guys like. If you're watching this on YouTube, uh, leave a comment below. Let me know what era in history do you think you find interesting just to spend time in for a little while and just to observe. I think maybe like, well, a lot of history is not too kind to black people, but I think like medieval Japan is very interesting to be a part of personally. Or maybe uh the Victorian era of London. Maybe. Yeah, I mean, like the Claymore is an impressive type of sword, like one of the most iconic swords ever. So it's like hard to like beat that, honestly. Yeah, African stick fighting is always awesome. It's something I was thought would be interesting to learn. Like I learned archery uh around time for my birthday. I went out to took some archery classes, and it was very cool, man. Just like, and they don't explain this. Nobody, I don't think anybody ever explained this, but if you ever try archery, which I highly recommend, when you hear that arrow pierce through the air, it makes a thwip sound, and for some reason it's very appealing to my ears. I love the sound it makes, and I really want to go back to archery. I really wish it was closer to my house so I can just pretty much go every day. But African stick fighting would be a very interesting uh 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 skill to learn, but also axe throwing, something I want to try out too. Ball and chain. It looks like, it reminds me of that old school toy, Skip It. When the little girls have, when you're like, you know, put around your leg and you spin around your legs, you jump and you hop over with the other leg kind of thing. But the ball and chain doesn't seem like a very optimal weapon. I mean, the ball and chain is like, you know, it's probably be a good close range if you keep it in your hand and use it to like swing around and keep people at bay. But if you toss it, odds are you're gonna miss because it's already heavy. And when I played Deadliest Legends, that Iwisa, uh, it blew my mind how many times like I end up getting killed by it, or like I managed to knock somebody out with that. Uh, it is like you wouldn't expect it to be uh, a killable weapon. Man, I mean, like he looks like a puny little runt of a guy. Like like a literal pushover. I mean, like one of those like lightweight type of boxers. That's how you got the, you know, the reenactor of Shaka Zulu. Has like that kind of frame, kind of like one of those lightweight, heavyweight, or not heavyweight, lightweight boxers. Yeah, I never liked using a Warhammer when I was playing Deadliest Warrior Legends because you had a choice between that or the Claymore as like your close range weapon. It wasn't like a secondary you can choose, unfortunately. But it's just like, I don't know. It's like you can get kills with it, but it's like, I don't know. It's just didn't feel right using it. Yeah, the slow motion, like I love it so you can actually see like the level of trauma being dispersed. It's just like it's like mm. Nah, I've been waiting for this. I love this axe, the Zulu axe. The Yeah, that half moon crescent shape. See, I like this. It's like a great design of a weapon because unlike the claymore, where it's like it's probably have like some bit of recovery time because when you swing it in one way, it'll take you a minute to come back around to like even despite because you probably have to do like this almost like with the claymore depending on how you're wielding it, but like uh or if you like doing like a big hard swing, it takes time to recover after a big hard swing. But the Zulu X doesn't, you don't have to, worry about that. It's like it is specifically designed for you to wield it like a pendulum, and it's like no matter what you swing it one way, it comes around right, right back, and it's like come back, 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 and it's like it's like very easy recovery time with certain weapons on these handheld weapons. It's like the yeah, so that's why when I play the game, there's certain weapons that I like for certain warriors when they using like uh weapons that kind of slow you down, not slow you down, but just like it's hard to like maneuver a bit, or it's just like the recovery, just like you're expelling stamina a bit on the game. But like those lighter weapons, like the Wisa, and it's like you throw it, it's like nothing. It's barely moves the stamina meter, and it's just like depending on the warrior. Like I like the recovery time, but I want to do damage as well. It's kind of like a trade-off. Sometimes it's like depending on the weapon, it's like the lighter the weapon, the minimum amount of like instant death you'll probably be guaranteed. But with the more heavy weapons, more than likely will get you the kill immediately. But getting it, using it is actually like yeah, it's like even like a spear. It's like you're expelling some stamina a bit when you're trying to do some thrusts. Yeah, in that is where aftermath. I remember this specific question. It always stood out to me more than any other question from the aftermath shows. That there's a viewer that commented on the episode mentioned that, or what would happen if like Shaka Zulu had to fight on the battlefield in like Scotland, and vice versa for like William in Africa against Zulu, and like the Kieran and uh, Earl mentions like there'll be like a very significant thing because like depending on the landscape, if you never fought there before, it'd be very difficult, not too difficult, but it's difficult nonetheless to uh fight in like an unknown area that you're not used to fighting in, because like Shaka Zulu fighting in like in the outfit he's wearing, fighting in Scotland of the time of William Wallace, which is known to be kind of cold. He'll be kind of uncomfortable and wouldn't be used to fighting in a climate like that. Climates are a very key factor if you're fighting somebody, especially in like warlike situations that you need to like prepare for. And then William, the clothes he's wearing isn't suitable for a hot, African, safari like landscape when the sun is beaming down on you most of the day. So you'll probably exhaust yourself quicker because you're perspiring. You got all those layers on you with the armor and everything like that. But then, like, yeah, Saka Zulu, he'll probably be like, probably catch a bit of hypothermia wearing certain light stuff. So it's like, you know, you'll probably still fight, but eventually, you'll tire one way or the other a lot quicker than you would normally, because it's not type of can you try fighting somebody in like a like Chicago weather when things like snow comes down, it's like 3-4 inches of snow. Can you imagine trying to fight somebody in like a bitter cold winter? I wouldn't say it's impossible, but it's like highly unlikely things will continue beyond if it was just like a nice spring day. Spit of poison. Always enjoy when like warriors bring in some chemicals as part of their arsenal, like poison, via spit or darts. Yeah, I mean, like, on the game, Shaka Zulu's, special move is using the spit of poison, blinding the opponent, and then so you can stab him in the throat. That's how I think I remember how that move was pulled off. But yeah, I mean, unlike most poisons where it's kind of like, when it gets into your system, you already die almost instantly, depending on how long it takes to work through your system. But this is getting into your eyes, and it's just pepper spray for the most part. And like you said, it's not a distraction where it's a deadliest war. And like, this isn't this particular weapon by itself isn't gonna kill a person. And like the doctor said, it's like things that's toxic to your eyes is temporary. So you really gotta utilize that time uh, immediately before they had time to recover. You know, when I was watching this series when it was like airing, there I liked more when they, when they bring in these warriors, when they have like 4 or 5 weapons on each side. I really like the way they did with the Green Beret versus the Spetsnaz, when they have like this laundry, almost like a laundry list of weapons they each have that they used. I kind of really wish they do that with a lot of, well, that's modern type of people, but it's like, I don't know. I kind of wish it's like, you know, obviously we have more weapons than just these particular ones. Uh, that these warriors had used back in their time, but it's like I really wish they give like, okay, he got this as a long range weapon, he used this because he Kyrian brought out like an axe himself that they never utilized on the as one of their repertoires. I kind of wish it's like, oh, you have more weapons that these warriors had used, bring it on the show. I really want to see these, and especially on the game when you see like the other options for weapons that wasn't shown that these warriors had used. bring it on the show. I really wish we see them in action. One of the showrunners of Does were mentions on the Aftermath that they tried to make the locations that these warriors battle in, either one half favors one side and the other half favors the other warrior, or try to make it neutral. Like in this particular episode, the location is kind of neutral, that you can definitely see both warriors fight in any given circumstance. Wallace, the winner. Yeah, Ball and Chain only got one kill out of the entire simulations, and the Spit of Poison got 0. So those two are probably the most least effective weapons in the entire show. No, I'm thinking about, yeah, those are probably the two most least effective weapons out of the entire series. Okay, that was episode 16 of, well, it says 16 because they include all the Aftermath stuff, but the William Wallace Shaka Zulu episode, yeah, I mean, it's fun. I do enjoy that, man. I mean, like, definitely did enjoy that. But it's just like, yeah, technically, uh, technological wise, William Wallace did have the more superior gear, because with the Claymore, definitely had the more kills at the entire simulation of this fight. So it's like, I mean, halfway through the episode when I first saw it years ago, I was getting worried for Shaka. It's like, you know, William did have like more superior gear, and his armor, despite being chainmail, you know, it's like he at least had armor. You had like a rawhide shield that isn't much of a defense. I mean, like, I think I looked it up one day years ago that like the rawhide shields, you know, African warriors usually had back in those days, like, was only strong enough to, like, you know, just strong enough to, you know, be a decent defense against musket gunfire, but just barely, depending on how many people on the field using muskets. But man, it was like yeah, not much of a defense. So it's disappointing, but the facts, you know, speak for themselves. It's like, you know, yeah. But yeah, that was when Wallace versus Shaka Zulu. Next, we'll be doing like technically the final episode of the season 1 of Deadliest, where the IRA versus the Taliban. That was like, I want to say that was the most controversial one, but it's like definitely up there, because always got like certain episodes like this where it's have like some very troubling warriors that are still around to this day, that, you know, you know, these are just, you know, just talking about the warriors themselves, not anybody's ideology. But you'll see, you know, at least a few more in like in the next couple of seasons. But yeah, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff to Target of Carl on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. And don't forget to check out my Patreon. That's www.patreon.com/Target of Carl. If you have an idea for certain reviews that you want me to do, like movie, couple episodes of a TV show or a comic, hit me up via the Patreon, and I would definitely make it a priority and give you guys a shout out. And you'll obviously get first access. Duh. But anyway, I'll see you guys in a little bit for the next episode. See ya.